Hi. Credit crunch. It's sort of everywhere at the moment. The news is all about some bailout in America, 700 billion. Today we're on the 29th of September. The American Congress government has put in 250 billion, and they've got clauses in for another 100 billion in a quick short time, and then the rest can be paid under certain circumstances. In England we've got another series of banks going down, with the Bradford and Bingley at the top of it, which own quite a few banks, including my local branch here, the Lights and Leicester. But we've got the politicians, we've got the Conservative Party conference going on today, and they're talking about it, and they're just trying to make themselves good and sound good. Not trying to make themselves good, they're trying to make themselves sound good, obviously, to sell themselves to the public so they get voted in. But unfortunately they're not arguing constructively. I'll come to that another day, but unfortunately the Shadow Chancellor today is not being constructive. Anyway, the basic gist of it is coming from these politicians and these activist groups are the governments are bailing these people out, these big companies out, and it's taxpayers' money which is paying for it. Well, at the end of the day, if these banks are bankrupt completely, that's a part of the financial sector which is dead and needs the void filling. And that will make jobs go down the drain. Now, if the government bail these companies out and it works, the governments are 700, 900, a couple of trillion worse off. But what they see is there's still people in work keeping the economy going, because at the end of the day the economy is the biggest thing. Yeah, money is a part of the economy, but the economy is the biggest thing. And if there's still millions of people working, instead of millions of people unemployed, and they carry on working through the hard times, then we can see a way out of things. And that's what the government is saying. Now, some people are saying taxpayers shouldn't burden this. But if the government do it right, and let's say, like in England, we've got Northern Rock now, which is public, and well, it looks like we have Bradford and Bingley and Lights and Leicester and all that lot. But if we just take all those brand names off of it and put Bank of England back on it, we get a whole lot of property back into government hands, and a whole lot of the financial network of England back into the government's hands for a very, very cheap price, because Bradford and Bingley would no way have sold itself for such a little amount of money. But now the government's bailed it out. If I was the government, I would make sure I had control of it and give it to the Bank of England. They couldn't do it, we can. Same in America. When they bail out these big financial institutions, we've bailed you out, mate. We can let you go bankrupt or bail you out, kind of thing. I know they've been, what's it called, and I know in America they're really greedy, so they've gone for the 250 billion bailout than 100. So they want to try and get themselves out with taxpayers' money. It'll have to be paid back. Obviously, that's why it's taking time. In England, Northern Rock's the government's now. Bradford and Bingley will be the government's. There's no autonomy, it will be the Bank of England's now. Or the government's, whatever you want to call it. So, that's what people are actually complaining about. I know this video isn't extremely well laid out, and I'm not very good at laying out videos. But the final point I want to put into this video, hopefully I've got enough time, looks like I have, is there's some managers in these companies which have allowed the companies to go insolvent. Now these managers, the top managers that have done this, well, they should be documented that these are failures. These managers are failures, and they should not be allowed. They shouldn't be trusted with monetary stuff anymore. They are blaggers. They're not capable of doing the job. So in other words, they are the blaggers. And I'm afraid if all you can do is blag, you shouldn't be allowed to be a manager. You know, go and be a minion and blag with the other blaggers, and you know, do all the moonlighting and stuff like that. And that's the only thing I would ask, on top of what the what my government's doing. I don't know what Americans are doing. You know, I mean, 250. It looks like they're trying to. It looks like the people over there are just too manipulative. What I would do if I was the government in America, I would pass some laws now to make sure that big financial institutions can't manipulate the government the way they're doing. I would pass some extra laws over there. In this country, it seems as if we've got them by the balls, if they're not doing very well. So like I say, these managers, it's not it's not like, oh yeah, he owns it, so it was his fault. It's not always the owner's fault, it's not always the bloke right at the top's fault. Yeah, it could be the lower it could be the lower managers, the middle managers, the upper managers, or the boss. Now if the boss is sending down instructions which is making everything bad, then fair enough, the boss goes, and all the weak people that followed it underneath go. But if the boss is sending down good instructions, but saying, you've got a bonus, mate, if you hit the bonus, I'll give you more money. If you hit the bonus start, I'll give you more money. And then the unscrupulous boss underneath him is saying, well, if I cut corners here, here, and here, and here, and here, I'll make my bonus. And not being responsible with the world's money, then they're the ones that need taken out. But unfortunately, on this planet, we've got no documentation, no way of documenting things properly. My solution to these problems is cameras and recording devices everywhere, and no laws on restriction of information. And when I say everywhere, I mean everywhere. I'm not joking. I mean, in this bedroom where I'm in, there should be a camera looking at me and recording exactly what I'm doing. There is! No, it's there, mate. And if we put them everywhere, right, and when problems happen, this information that's being recorded on this camera is being recorded onto a device. Now, it needs saving, and it's not for 10 years, it's not for 50 years, it's not for 100 years. It's, if you can save that information for a long time, how long can you save it? And if we had cameras and recording devices everywhere, in every room, everywhere, and we just kept on recording and saving all that information, we could have a system where that information is given to a certain part of society, or given to some artificial intelligence to sift through to work out where the arguments are arising from. And it might be something ridiculously stupid, like a cat jumped out off a sidewalk in front of a car which enraged somebody, and when they got to work that day they were a little bit upset because of the cat, but reacted because of the cat, because it was a black cat, and there was some superstition about a black cat which really wound them up and took them away from their focus, and then they made a mistake, and that mistake led to the credit crunch. It's the chaos theory, and we need to do something to document it, and when we find out who the culprits are, we need to sort it out. And if it is witches with black cats that are doing it, we need to sort them out.